真的是用尽他的全力，冲着我喊了一句说：“你一定要照顾好孩子，照顾好家。”我们家因为这些事情破产了。
他不是走的 NHS 系统吗？不都是免费的吗？怎么能破产呢？
Nothing in the world is free. Hi, I'm Chris Hughes. I'm the founder of Healthwell Solutions.
你现在在告 NHS，
脑膜炎是极为重症，它是必须要
马上治
疗，但是 NHS 的 GP 都觉得没有必要。
It was never developed and built for today's needs, and it needs to change. Private medical insurance, it's not about replacing the NHS. You're buying choices.
A lot of overseas Chinese working in the UK, their company covered as a private insurance as a kind of a benefit for the employees. For that circumstances, why they need to pay extra to buy your services, for example? I mean, the benefits of being a British is we have a free national health treatments, right? Insurance. Then why bother to pay extra to buy private insurance?
Well, first and foremost, there's a lot of misconception about the NHS, about it being free. Nothing in the world is free. The NHS is paid for through tax, it's paid through contributions, and as somebody coming to live in the UK, you have to purchase an access program to gain access to the NHS, so it's not free. However, going back to your question, even if it is free, it is there to provide support, and we have probably the best accident and emergency care, primary care situation in the world. The NHS is absolutely amazing at that. It was never developed and built for today's needs, and it needs to change. Private medical insurance, and why would you buy it? It's not about replacing the NHS. It's there to support when something potentially is going wrong, to gain faster access, to get second opinions, to navigate through preventative health. There's all sorts of reasons why you would buy private medical insurance. It will never replace the NHS. The NHS is there, that is your immediate safety net. But private medical insurance is there as your personalised access program, fast care, covering the things that the NHS cannot.
Yeah, so what you mentioned is I want to highlight this point. So NHS is not free. And that's because it's free once you use it, but it's a tax payment. Also, when you apply for the visa, you pay a lot. It's all bills, including getting the treatment.
There's an access program.
So, but second, which is the most important thing, everybody needs to remember that. Also, from my experience, I can share that. And NHS is brilliant in terms of emergency services. But it's not for long-term cure treatment.
It is there,
but not as good as a private insurance.
Well, what it is we have a growing population, an aging population. The NHS was built straight after the war to provide access to all to good quality healthcare. Our population was half of what it is today, and the funding is already there, but the system is creaking. Therefore, if you're diagnosed with something like cancer, there's a lot of resources there. However, there is huge waiting lists. There is a queuing system, and it depends on postcode, where you are, how good that service is, how well it's funded, there's all sorts of issues around how good is the healthcare that you're going to get. So therefore, people who have the resources should be taking certain responsibilities to have a better allocations through the private healthcare system. You have some of the leading hospitals in the world that are privately funded, which means that you have to pay for them. These are not cheap. And what people have to remember is the NHS is very much like the state system in China, in the fact that it is there, it is available, and people who have paid into the system get a contribution for access to the state hospitals. However, if you have the resources, you always want to go to the VIP sections. You always want to choose which doctor you go to. Therefore, you have to pay for it. And it's a very similar situation in the UK. You get what you're given in the NHS. You don't have a choice. You have your GP according to where you live. How good he is and how good his connections to get you to a hospital is important. You only have one choice. You cannot say, oh, I want a second opinion. Oh, I don't want to see that doctor. You don't have those choices within a state system, and that's what the NHS is.
As an immigrant Chinese individual, how can I purchase a private insurance? Private insurance is very expensive.
So in the UK, there are multiple options for buying private medical insurance, and it can be the way that it's structured in general is it is a supplemental health system on the UK PMI. In other words, you still use the NHS as your primary care, and then your medical insurance would kick in if something was concerning to the doctor that needed to be analysed, be looked at, and then to get a diagnosis. So private medical insurance in the UK, as its basic form, will help you get a diagnosis if something is believed to be wrong. And then if a further treatment or a surgery is necessary, it covers that option. That is the basics of private medical insurance in the UK. Now, that access is actually not that expensive, but you're still utilising the NHS. So you've still got to make appointments through your GP, which can take 2 to 3 days, or most insurers now will have an online portal which you go on, you give them your condition, and they will fast track you or advise you where to go. It's online, it's in English. A lot of non-English speaking nationals coming to live in the UK struggle to access that, which means that they have the same problems. The next level up would be where you purchase a medical insurance program that is a pure standalone. In other words, it would cover you for a private GP, which you can then research and say, well, I live in Fulham, there's 3 or 4 great practices. You have the access to any one of those. You'll go and see those doctors. You'll find a doctor that suits you, that would be your primary care for you and your children, whomever. So it means that you can still access the NHS. However, if something's urgent or you want a second opinion, you've always got it. Now, those levels of coverage obviously come at a slight premium. So you've got a sliding scale of options, and it can range from being £80 a month per person to £700 a month per person based on what you actually want. Basic medical insurances won't cover things like dental. They don't cover prescriptions. They don't cover private GPs. What they will cover is, again, the support when something is diagnosed. With a pure standalone, you can have maternity, you can have dental, you can have preventative healthcare built into those programs. And therefore, it is a totally encapsulated support system, which is then concierge. So you then have the support of direct access to advisors constantly. They help you make appointments. If something is looking a concern, then it's second, third, fourth opinions if you need. It's fast tracking. It's a peace of mind. And that is the difference of what is available in the marketplace. And I would say to anybody coming to the UK, the first and most important thing is understand what you need and what you need to buy for peace of mind.
Okay, so the standard price, working with the NHS and they cover your diagnosis and then your treatments. So roughly per person per month, how much that cost?
Depends on age, and it depends on
Let's say mid-age, 40s.
So 40s with a central London postcode, wanting access to the best hospitals, private hospitals in London, will start at around about £100 per month per person.
And then what about like for overseas students, like 20s?
You can get really good access programs, really good coverage for £50 a month.
Wow, okay, so it's not much. So that's standards. And then Premier.
So the premium will...
Which is having the private GP,
Yeah.
everything like separate for the NHS.
For a student coming over would start at approximately £1,800 to £2,000 a year.
£2,000 a year, which is like 180
about 160, 180 pounds
per
month
Okay.
Per student.
Yeah.
And that would give pure, absolute access. They would have a concierge so that if they're concerned about anything, they can be speaking directly to somebody to say, what do we do in these circumstances? It would also allow the parents to communicate with the concierge people as well. So you would have your own peace of mind. Whereas when you're buying something that's supplemental through a larger insurance company, you have to be the person to ring up. It's a queuing system. You don't have a personalized person that you'll deal with. So it can be clunky. And a lot of people find it difficult to navigate because it's not like, I'm feeling unwell, I'm going to speak to Jojo.
Yes.
Because Jojo is my concierge. Whereas when you're buying a higher level medical insurance, you always know who you're picking the phone up to speak to. Your response times are so much quicker. So again, you get what you pay for.
Exactly.
Which is,
so, but then how much is around for 40, mid-age, 40 to 50, like a premium?
Again, if you just want full everything to cover full medical, but doesn't have dental or maternity in it, for a 40-year-old, you are looking at around about £4,000 a year.
So my next question is, Chris, a lot of overseas Chinese working in the UK, their company covered as a private insurance as a corporate, as a kind of a benefit for the employees. For that circumstances, why they need to pay extra to buy your services, for example?
If the company is covering your medical insurance, does it cover all of your family? Does it cover everything?
Does it not?
Not always, no.
Depends on
your position within the company.
I see.
And it depends on what is the choices of that company. How much are they spending on the provision of employee benefits? And so it isn't a given that your family will be covered. It is generally the lower end of the private medical products available. Companies have to look at costs. They want to give the best for their employees, but everything comes at a cost. So a lot of people just don't take their company medical insurance, and they look at alternative options for themselves because they may need dental coverage. They may need maternity coverage. They're thinking of starting a family. There's all sorts of reasons why they may opt out and then look for a better cover.
Okay. Well, by talk about maternity leave, this is a big concern for, at least for me, I understand, as a Chinese.
The company will give you maternity leave, but it doesn't cover any costs of that maternity. The NHS will cover your maternity, but again, the hospital that you decide to have that baby, it's the choice of where you live. It's postcode lottery. So if you live in East London, your choice of hospitals to have a baby are limited. If you buy private medical insurance, you choose which doctor, gynecologist you're going to see, which doctor is going to perform the birth, which hospital you're comfortable with. I've always stated that for a young person who's going to get pregnant, who's going to have a baby, you really need to think about peace of mind. Everything around being pregnant is stressful. However, if you've chosen the right hospital, you've chosen the right facility, you're reducing your stress levels, you're reducing your perceived risk. You know, there's still today no guarantees that everything will be perfect and everything will be healthy.
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of people buy private medical insurance to cover maternity.
Yeah.
So they're actually reducing risk.
Yeah, and for me, I can see like a cover the maternity leave. It's also I can choose a doctor speak Mandarin.
Yes, exactly.
Because when the most vulnerable time for the whole family, and then I don't want any misunderstanding. And also, I want a Chinese speaker gynecologist who understand Chinese culture as well, like cover up, don't get explode to the AC for the baby, stuff like that. So that's completely different.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you've bought the higher levels of insurances which cover maternity through these products also are borderless. So if you're a Chinese national that's here working or got a British passport now, but you feel that you want your family around you, you want to have a baby in China, you can go and have the baby in China. You can have the baby anywhere because you've bought a coverage for that maternity. It doesn't dictate where you have the baby. So there's certain benefits there as well.
I see. Yeah, that's a good point. You can choose. I mean, I can just go back to Hong Kong to deliver a baby. Everything is covered, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
And then what happens is that your company is, in the UK, we have very generous maternity leave.
Yeah.
So you say to your company that you have to leave a month in advance because you cannot fly if you want to go back to Hong Kong. So you'd leave a month in advance. Your salary would be covered up to, I think it's 5 or 6 months. Therefore, you've got time to go back to your home country, have the baby, meet all the family, everybody's happy, and then come back at the right time and then go back into active work, if that's what you wish to do.
So it all can be arranged.
Yeah, so you're buying choices.
You're buying choices, yeah. My parents bought a lot of private insurance, a lot. So they will guarantee their typical certain treatments. And then, so you pay every year for amount of money for continually the next 5 years or 10 years. And then, then that account's gonna be built up as an investment. You get 5% or 10%. Then when we talk about, okay, your private, like the insurance that I've been purchasing for the last 20 years, it doesn't give me any investments. It doesn't give me any account accumulations. So then why I buy this?
So the products that were created in China, Hong Kong, where they have an investment element in, these products existed many, many years ago in the UK. They no longer exist. And they are specific individual policies. So you'll buy a life policy with some investment. You'll buy a cancer coverage with investment. And what that product will do is you keep paying each year. Then if you are diagnosed with cancer, it gives you a cash payout. And then it's up to you how you get your treatment, where you go for that treatment. But it isn't a concierge, you've got cancer, here's the best doctors, we're going to fully cover whatever it needs. There is a limit to how much it covers you for. Now, with the best will in the world, nobody knows how bad that cancer could be, how long your treatment's going to be, and what that cost is going to be. So therefore, does that product fully meet the needs if you were ever diagnosed? That's number one. It will give you a contribution, great. Secondly, the insurance element of anything is only a portion of what you're paying. The rest is the investment part. And historically, insurance companies are not the best investors in the world. If you look historically over the last 20 years, financial crashes, they were all caused by poor investments by insurance companies. Therefore, would you trust your insurance company to be investing that portion correctly and giving you the right returns? Historically, most people who know a little bit about investment would just buy the insurance product that they need, and then the elements of it, which would be used for the investment part, they'd invest it themselves and earn 3 or 4 or 5 times as much. So are you getting value for money on those products, and do they actually meet the needs? It is what was available with your parents through the last generation. Over the last 20 years, the insurance market in China has been developing. A lot of those products are based on very old traditional products that don't exist in the West anymore, purely because they don't actually work very well. So I think that you should actually look in depth at these products and see, are you actually getting value for money? And yes, a lot of people have them now in place, and they've been in place for 10, 15, 20 years, and they will mature and you'll get some money back. But you won't get all the money you've actually put in. It's very rare. So again, you've got to let those mature now. You cannot just cancel them because you'll get nothing back. So I would say they're in place. But what I would do is really, before you would buy any further products, is really look at, are you getting value for money? Does this meet my needs? And do you actually know what the cost of a full 2 or 3 year cancer treatment program costs in somewhere like China these days? You're actually looking at around about $80,000 per year for a full cancer treatment, and that treatment could last 2 or 3 years. I mean, we both have a friend who unfortunately had an episode with breast cancer and chose to go to the best treatment center in Germany. That treatment cost over that, she's fully okay now, absolutely amazing, great. But the insurance company paid for all that treatment, but it was over 3 years. And it's in the region of £120,000. Now, a cancer product in China would not have covered that. So again, you need to really look at what is available in the market, and are the products you've been promoted or you know about through social media, through different channels, are they meeting the needs of the changes in the environment?
Basically, what you're saying is, first of all, is the investment. Are they really better than your own investment?
Absolutely.
Second one, you say that's the insurance, like feel secure. Like you think, okay, I cover for that. If I get this, that's ill, like a disease. However, would that cover you? Like with the new now stage where you are, amount of money, would that be enough? Right? So the third advice is thinking carefully, right?
Absolutely. And I would say to anybody that's looking for a life product, for example, is actually to do a full analysis of, if something happened to me, how much money do I need to leave behind to make sure my family, for the whole needs, is fully covered? Most people vastly underestimate how much it costs to leave your family with an amount of money that will sustain them to the same levels they're currently at for the next 15, 20, 30 years if something should happen to you. Insurance, there are multiple different levels of insurance. Medical insurance is there to pay for the day-to-day costs of treatments, whatever they may be. That does not protect loss of income because you can't work. It doesn't protect in case eventually you die. Those are different insurances. Medical insurance just is there to look after the day-to-day costs of you getting the best access and the best healthcare. That's what it's there for.
All right. Okay, thank you so much for your explanation. Now I need to ask benefits for my followers.
Well, anybody who would like to know more and would like to have a discussion, we will give the access through Healthwell Solutions via email or WeChat, WhatsApp. And as soon as you are in contact, please mention the words Jojo, and this will give you direct discounts. We have a special arrangement to make sure that everybody gets the best price, and we will honour that with the Jojo code.
Thank you.